What if I told you that one of the most powerful things you could do for your body costs almost nothing, takes less than 3 minutes to prepare, and has been practiced by healers across India, China, and the Arab world for over 4,000 years? Most people walk past it in the supermarket every single week. They have no idea what it does. Not in a week, not in 10 days, but in 30 days, drunk every single morning before anything else. This one simple drink begins to change the body in ways that ancient healers observed, documented, and protected as some of their most treasured knowledge. Today, I am going to take you through those 30 days, day by day, week by week, exactly what is happening inside your body, and exactly what the ancient healers who first discovered this knew that we have largely forgotten. The drink is turmeric water, and the 30 days ahead are going to surprise you. Before the first morning, before the first cup, let us go back to where this knowledge came from. In the ancient Ayurvedic texts of India, written more than 3,000 years ago, turmeric is described as the golden healer, the spice that works on every system of the body simultaneously. Ancient physicians called it haridra, meaning that which purifies the blood, protects the liver, quiets inflammation, and sharpens the mind. They did not give it this name carelessly. Ayurvedic healers were extraordinarily systematic observers. They documented what happened to patients who consumed turmeric daily across weeks, months, and years. Their observations accumulated into a body of knowledge that was passed down through generations of healing families. At roughly the same time, in ancient China, turmeric appeared in the Shenong Bencao Jing, the oldest pharmacopoeia in Chinese history. Chinese healers called it Yu Jin, the golden spirit medicine. They prescribed it specifically for what they called stagnation, places in the body where the vital force had slowed, pooled, or become blocked. Their diagnosis for dozens of conditions shared one root cause: stagnation. And their remedy, again and again, was turmeric. And in the ancient Arab world, Ibn Sina, the physician whose medical texts shaped healing practice for over 6 centuries, described turmeric as one of the few substances capable of working at the level of the blood itself. Not just at the organ, not just at the surface, at the fundamental fluid that carries life through every part of the body. 3 ancient traditions, 3 completely different medical philosophies, all arriving independently at the same conclusion: turmeric, every day for the rest of your life. Now let us go into the 30 days. Days 1 to 7, the foundation begins. In the first week, most people notice very little, and that is exactly right. The active compound in turmeric is curcumin, and curcumin does not announce itself with dramatic, immediate effects. It works quietly, systematically, beginning with the gut. Within the first 7 days of drinking turmeric water every morning, curcumin begins to alter the environment of the digestive tract. It modulates the balance of the gut microbiome, supporting the beneficial bacteria and suppressing the inflammatory bacteria that chronic modern diets have allowed to proliferate. Ancient Ayurvedic healers called the gut the root of all health. They were not speaking poetically, they were speaking medically. Modern gastroenterology has confirmed what they observed. The gut microbiome influences inflammation, immune function, mood, energy, and the health of every organ in the body. In the first 7 days, curcumin is preparing the ground. You may notice in this first week a slight improvement in digestion. Bloating that has been persistent begins to ease. The gut is settling. The ancient healers described this as the fire being properly kindled. Not too high, not too low. The digestive fire burning cleanly. Days 8 to 14, the inflammation conversation begins. By the second week, curcumin has accumulated to a concentration in the body where it begins its most famous work, modulating inflammation. Inflammation is not the enemy. Ancient healers understood this clearly. Inflammation is the body's most important defense and repair mechanism. The problem is not inflammation. The problem is inflammation that never turns off. Chronic low-grade inflammation, the kind that hums quietly in the background of modern life, is now understood to be the root driver of cardiovascular disease, type 2 diabetes, cognitive decline, joint deterioration, and accelerated aging. Curcumin does not suppress inflammation the way a pharmaceutical drug does, by blocking the process entirely. It modulates it. It speaks to the nuclear factor kappa B pathway, the master switch of inflammatory signaling, and turns down the volume without switching off the system entirely. Ancient healers described this differently, but they observed the same result. Patients who drank turmeric daily reported less joint stiffness in the morning, less heaviness in the body, a feeling of the body becoming lighter and more responsive. By day 14, most people drinking turmeric water every morning begin to notice this themselves. Not dramatically, subtly. The body beginning to feel less like it is fighting something it cannot name. Days 15 to 21. The liver awakens. In the third week, the most quietly significant change begins to occur. The liver. Ancient healers across every tradition regarded the liver as the body's most important cleansing organ. They were correct. The liver performs over 500 distinct metabolic functions, filtering the blood, metabolizing toxins, producing bile for digestion, regulating blood sugar, synthesizing proteins, and storing vitamins and minerals. By the third week of daily turmeric water, curcumin has begun to stimulate bile production in the liver and gallbladder. Bile is the fluid that breaks down dietary fats and carries metabolic waste products out of the body through the digestive tract. When bile production is sluggish, which it commonly is in sedentary modern life, fats accumulate in the liver, toxins recirculate, and digestion becomes progressively less efficient. Turmeric restores the flow. The ancient Egyptian healers used turmeric specifically for what they called sluggish liver. Patients who were persistently fatigued, whose skin had lost its clarity, whose digestion was slow and heavy. They prescribed turmeric water for 40 days and observed consistent improvement in every one of those conditions. By day 21, people who have been consistent begin to notice something they often cannot immediately explain. The skin looks clearer,
energy in the afternoon is more stable. The heavy, sluggish feeling after meals is less pronounced. The liver is beginning to breathe. Days 22 to 30. The mind enters the picture. In the final week, something that ancient healers consistently documented begins to emerge: mental clarity. Curcumin crosses the blood-brain barrier, a fact that sets it apart from most anti-inflammatory compounds, which remain confined to the body's peripheral systems. Once inside the brain, curcumin has been shown to increase the production of brain-derived neurotrophic factor, the protein responsible for the growth and survival of neurons.
Think of BDNF as the brain's fertilizer. It promotes the formation of new neural connections, supports memory consolidation, and protects existing neurons from the inflammation-driven degeneration that underlies Alzheimer's disease and cognitive decline. Ancient Indian Ayurvedic physicians prescribed turmeric specifically for what they called dull mind. Patients who had lost their sharpness, whose memory was fading, whose concentration was fragmented. They observed that consistent daily consumption of turmeric across 4 to 6 weeks restored what they described as the fire of the mind. By day 30, the changes that began quietly in week 1 have compounded into something that most people describe the same way. I feel different, not dramatically transformed, not miraculously healed, but genuinely, measurably different. The gut is calmer, the joints move more easily, the skin is clearer, the mind is sharper, sleep is deeper, energy is more even throughout the day. This is what 30 days of turmeric water does. Not because it is magic, because it is chemistry that ancient healers observed centuries before the chemistry had a name. Now, how to make it correctly? The ancient healers were very specific about preparation, and for good reason. Curcumin on its own has poor bioavailability, meaning the body absorbs only a small fraction of it without help. The ancient Ayurvedic solution, which modern science has now confirmed is correct, was to combine turmeric with black pepper and a small amount of fat. Piperine, the active compound in black pepper, increases the bioavailability of curcumin by up to 2,000%. 2,000. That is not a misstatement. A pinch of black pepper transforms a moderately absorbed compound into one that enters the bloodstream rapidly and reaches the tissues that need it. The fat, whether a small amount of raw coconut oil, ghee, or simply a glass of warm whole milk, allows curcumin to dissolve properly, since it is fat-soluble rather than water-soluble. Here is the exact preparation that ancient Ayurvedic healers used. Half a teaspoon of turmeric powder, 1 small pinch of black pepper, 1 teaspoon of raw coconut oil or half a teaspoon of ghee. Warm water, not boiling, not cold. Mix and drink slowly first thing in the morning before any food. That is it. That is the 30-day medicine. One small warning the ancient healers gave. Consistency matters more than quantity. Half a teaspoon every morning for 30 days is worth 10 times more than 2 teaspoons once a week. The body responds to regularity. The benefits compound only when the practice is unbroken. They also noted, and this is confirmed by modern research, that turmeric stains everything it touches. Your cup, your spoon, if you spill it, your clothes. Use a dedicated cup for your turmeric water. The ancient healers had clay cups specifically set aside for it. They considered the gold stain a mark of honor. 30 days. That is all it takes to begin to feel what healers across 4,000 years of recorded history observed in their patients. A gut that has quieted, joints that have loosened, skin that has cleared, liver that is flowing, a mind that has sharpened. The ancient healers did not call it a cure. They called it returning the body to what it was always meant to be. You were not meant to feel inflamed. You were not meant to feel foggy. You were not meant to feel heavy and sluggish and tired in the afternoon. That is not aging. That is stagnation. And stagnation has always had a remedy. Tomorrow morning, before the noise begins, put a pot of water on to warm. Half a teaspoon of turmeric, a pinch of black pepper, a small spoon of coconut oil. Drink it slowly, in the quiet, before the world asks anything of you. And do that same thing every morning for 30 days. Come back and tell me what you notice. I read every single message, every one. If this found you at the right moment, share it with one person who needs it. It may be the 30 days that changes everything for them. Subscribe to Ancient Body Wisdom and come back every single week. There is so much more the healers knew, and we are only just beginning.